Everybody awake? All right. Everybody's sleeping because I just ate. Well, I appreciate everybody being here. I know you're here because of baseball. I know how that works. But a little bit about our class. I'm really, really excited about this class. In my opinion, at least on paper, and we know we don't win games on paper, but this is probably one of the top classes that we've had in my tenure. It's pitching heavy, which is so important in the game of baseball. We were able to bring in 4 high school pitchers, 2 junior college pitchers, and then we met a lot of needs as far as athletes and positionally. So 2 infielders, 1 catcher, and 1 outfielder. Most of the kids are from the state of Illinois, so we have 8 from the state of Illinois, 1 from the state of Wisconsin, and 1 from the state of Minnesota. Very, very good mix, very athletic. Some of the higher rated kids that we've had. I think a lot of these players were guys that had committed or were on our radar from back in our 2015 year. And so, again, I'm really excited about this group. It meets what we've always tried to do as far as bring in good student athletes, guys that will continue to work hard, get better. The thing that we have to do in this class, though, is we're going to have to dodge a draft with a couple guys because there will be a couple of them that will get great attention from professional baseball. And, so we'll probably be rolling the dice a little bit once we get into June, July.
Coach, who are those guys?
Well, I don't want to leave anybody out. I think as you look at the entire group, if they were in college right now, you would have a lot of junior, senior signs where they're at this point. 2 of the higher profile guys would be Campbell, the catcher, and then Maldonado, the pitcher out of Minnesota. So your 2 kids from out of state. In state, I was fortunate 2 years ago when I was with USA Baseball that Comia was one of the guys that I was able to coach during that time. He'd already committed to us. He's a special player. All the arms we have coming in are guys that have pitchability up front. Probably the most underrated player in the whole group is McDonald, and he's a guy that was added a little bit later than the rest. He really came on. You've got a really athletic outfielder with Acosta. I mean, it's just a group that if you look at them right now and you talk to scouts, I had a scout call me actually this week and talked about the class coming in. His comment was, in 3 years with this group, you've got a special group that we're probably going to be paying to leave. So, that's good. As we all know, these guys have to pan out. Again, we talk about things on paper where they are in high school. Once they get into our program, higher level, they're going to have to continue to improve and do things well, both physically and mentally. So there's a learning curve there, but up front, it's a special group.
You mentioned that the 2015 season maybe sparked a lot of these guys' interest in your program. I mean, have you seen that continuing, in some of the classes that you're going after these ones, or how is that kind of carrying over from a couple years removed?
You get a short period of carryover from a successful season. If you look at the past 2 years, subpar from the level we want to play at. A lot of that had to do with the fact that we lost a number of guys to the draft. So there's positive and negatives to that. When you lose a number of guys to the draft that we did, you may have some down years. At the same time, you're producing players and guys are getting better in your program. There's not a ton of carryover, but this class, was greatly affected from the 2015 success.
Who are you looking to on this year's team, like Jack Yalwitz or someone to lead this team, and how have they looked in fall ball?
Very interesting. One of the things that I've said over the past couple months is we're extremely talented. So physically, there's a lot of things we do well. I've been concerned about some things leadership-wise. I really enjoyed the article in the paper about basketball the other day because I really felt like some of the things from a leadership standpoint were not taking place. We've had a series of events over the past 2 weeks that have really changed our leadership. Some guys that continually would talk about they lead by example are now starting to be verbal with it. And so if you'd asked me that question 2 weeks ago, I'd been apprehensive. If you asked me where we're at today with leadership, we have some guys that have really stepped up. Jack Yalowitz is one of those guys I think will do a good job. One of the really important guys on our team that is probably the hardest worker is Michael Massey. And being a younger guy, I think he was afraid, not afraid, but apprehensive to speak up. He has started to speak up and do a great job. I've had a number of other guys that have stepped forward, and so I feel really good about where we're at physically right now. I like the jumps we've made mentally, and from a leadership standpoint, night and day.
Over the years, what has fall ball shown you about what will come in the spring?
That's a good question. Fall ball's tough for us. Our guys have played since January, so they play our entire season. They go straight into summer baseball. As soon as summer baseball's over, they come back and they have to practice for a month. Some guys are worn out both physically and mentally. There's some things that we learn as far as what type of progress they've made over the summer. Young guys, we learn, what they do as far as work ethic goes. This year was a little bit different in the fall because of an NCAA rule change. We were actually able to play some fall games against outside competition where it's not going to count against us eligibility-wise, and so that was enlightening. When I said I really appreciate some of the comments on leadership that Coach Underwood made in the paper, we had a very similar situation. We lost to Milliken in the fall. Maybe one of the best things that ever happened to us. It's amazing when guys walk out on the field, court, whatever it might be, thinking that they can just walk out and perform and not giving you the great effort, not being really focused, and you get embarrassed. It's a great teaching moment, great coaching moment, and we made great progress after that. So I learned a lot. I think probably the players learned a lot more than I did in the fall. But I really am pleased with what we did in the fall, the progress we've made. They had a 2-week period where they were off, and our lifting, conditioning, and off-season workouts have gone extremely well. So, again, we've made great progress just in the past couple of weeks, and it's been fun to watch this group.
Your 2 pitchers from Parkland, did you recruit those guys together since they kind of moved together from SLU to Parkland?
Well, we when we recruited those guys, we knew they were friends. They're actually roommates. They were roommates down at SLU. We got one to commit about 2 weeks earlier than the other one. One of the reasons was trying to figure out what our needs were going to be as we watch fall unfold. One of them, I think, will be on the back end and be a closer type. The other one's going to be more of a starter type. So we had to figure out scholarships and where that all fell. And is it a package deal? I would say they probably helped recruit each other. We didn't go into it as a package deal, but it kind of fell where, we got 2 quality players and 2 guys that are very mature and 2 great students.